Good evening and welcome to the February 23rd Policy Subcommittee meeting of the Brockton School Committee. Before we get started, I'll start with the COVID-19 language for the open meeting law. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic and state of emergency, on March 12, 2020, Governor Baker issued an executive order temporarily suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, GL Chapter 30A, Section 20. Pursuant to that order, public bodies are temporarily relieved from the open meeting law's requirements that meetings be held in public places, open and physically accessible to the public, so long as measures are taken to ensure public access to the body's deliberations through adequate alternative means. This meeting will be held and will be accessible to the public via Brockton Community Access, Brockton Public Schools website, www.bpsma.org, YouTube, and Comcast Channel 98. The public can access this meeting via the following link, www.youtube.com/TheBrocktonChannels. All right, I'll now do a roll call to establish a quorum. Mr. Minicello. All right, Mrs. Mendez.
Here.
I'm sorry, Mayor Sullivan.
Here.
And D'Agostino is here. Mr. Rodriguez.
Here.
Mrs. Sullivan. Oh, there he is. Sorry, I didn't see you. All right. Mrs. Sullivan.
Yes.
Ms. Asak. Mr. Sullivan.
Here.
Okay, we are a quorum. And for this evening on our agenda is COVID-19 metrics and update from Dr. Herman, our pandemic consultant. Then we will go into executive session. We'll get to that. And then we'll have other business followed by adjournment for the evening. So Dr. Herman, the floor is yours.
Thanks very much for inviting me back once again. And so you're all familiar with the drill. I'll go ahead and give a brief overview of the metrics and be available for any questions that you have. So we are on pandemic day 347, approaching our 1-year mark on March 14th. And as you all know, we just recently passed a rather grim milestone. No need to belabor that, but it's really quite devastating. In Massachusetts, this is where we were 2 weeks ago when I last spoke with you, when the state's overall red, yellow, green number, according to the CDC, was 36. And as of today, the CDC gives us a number closer to 21. So great indication that things are heading in the right direction. This is a 7-day average of the number of cases per day per 100,000. So hardly out of the woods by having 21 cases a day, but certainly better than 96 cases a day where we were a month or so ago. This is the overall trajectory of COVID in Brockton. And as you can see, really since mid-January, it has just continued to fall and fall and fall, which is great news. This was the dashboard 2 weeks ago, and I'll point out that our red, yellow, green number for a 2-week average was up close to 52, with nearly 50 patients in the hospital. Tonight, our dashboard shows our red, yellow, green number is 26. That's a 2-week average, and our number of hospitalizations are 34. I like to focus on this hospitalization number for several reasons, but one is the CDC uses the percentage of hospitalizations in a community as an indicator for school reopening, and also even more than test positivity rate and cases, it really tells us how much sickness there is in the community. So no matter how many people get tested or don't get tested or what the positive rate or whatnot, it's the number of people who are sick and in the hospital in the ICU really gives a good barometer of how much illness there is in any given community. This is what our neighbors look like. And so 2 weeks ago, everybody was kind of in the 40s, 50s, 60s. Last week, everybody was kind of in the 30s, 40s. Some towns even made it into the yellow designation by being under 5% positivity rate. Brockton, even though we were under 5%, didn't make it into the yellow because as a city with greater than 50,000 folks, we are held to a little bit higher standard and need to get our positivity rate under 4%. So not quite there yet, not ready to make the transition from red to yellow. This is what the hospitalization numbers look like right up until today, actually. And as you can see, over the last 2 weeks about, it has been steadily under 50 cases of COVID between the two hospitals. And as I've said, this is kind of the benchmark. 50 cases represents 15% of the hospital beds. And so we want to be below that number and as an indicator that COVID is moving in the right direction. Just an overview of COVID from the beginning and what age groups have been affected. Pretty much the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, sort of all in the same range. We did log in 4 additional deaths today that happened over the past week. And as you can see, we've had about 1 death a day over the past month or so. This is what our red, yellow, green number has done, plummeting nicely over the last several weeks. And 2 days from now on Thursday, when that number comes out, I believe it'll be in the mid-20s, probably close to 26. And just the trajectory of the way things are looking, it looks like it's going to continue to go down even after that. I know it's way too early to make that call, but assuming the COVID variants don't all of a sudden take control, we have so many things working in our favor right now with case rate going down and vaccinations increasing, that I think the case rate is just going to go down and down. This is where we were 2 weeks ago with a total of 1138. What I'm throwing a curveball into the mix this week because the Department of Public Health has always used the confirmed cases. Those are patients' cases with a PCR test, a molecular test, counting them as a case. But they also have a category called probable case, which is one of these 3 categories. But for all practical purposes, if you have an antigen test, one of the rapid tests, it's considered now a probable case. And so I'm adding that into the mix this week, just so that, and the probable case, this is from the beginning. This is from March of 2020. So over the past 11 months, we've had 42 probable cases. So the grand total would be confirmed cases. We've added 50 cases over the last couple weeks, and adding in the 42 probable cases. This is what I'm considering our grand total for kids in Brockton over the course of the pandemic. Again, 5 hospitalized early in the pandemic, nobody in the ICU, and no deaths. And this is data as of about 3 p.m. today. Breaking it down as I have in the past by school age, these are only the confirmed cases of pre-K, grade school, middle school, and high school. If you throw in the probable cases, it doesn't change the mix that much on a percentage basis, but I do want to be complete just to give you all the numbers and make sure that you have them all available to you. And again, this is the monthly log. I am pleasantly surprised by February. Early in the month, it looked like it was really ticking up quite rapidly, but now it seems to have fallen off in the last week or so. And this is what the pediatric caseload looks like. Each yellow bar is a week, a number of cases per week since the beginning of the pandemic. Obviously, after Thanksgiving and after Christmas, peak, another peak, and now seems to be falling off rather dramatically over the last several weeks. Just by age group, if you care about such things, and breaking it down by age group. Again, adding in the 18 to 21-year-olds gives us about 600 or 700 more cases. And then this is what our CTC, our Community Tracing Collaborative, looked like last week, just so that we know where is COVID in the community. And again, I'm not going to go into the details, but just for comparison, 3 weeks ago, this number was 450 cases, and now it's down to 150 cases. 28 people had no idea where they got their COVID. 28 people felt they got it from somewhere else in their household. 24 felt it was some kind of close contact. We had parties, we had workplaces, we had congregate settings, and these over here are the workplace settings where people felt that they got their COVID. I asked the CTC to look at the kids, and they had 9 kids that they looked at over the week and tried to drill down where they got their COVID. Seven of them got it from someone else in the household. 2 got it from a close contact. And these were the kinds of settings that were identified with the kids. It seems like about a century ago that we talked about worrying about the twindemic of the flu virus over here on the left and the COVID virus over here on the right, taking over, worried about everybody getting a flu shot and what kind of tragedy there was going to be if both pandemic and another epidemic took over. But this is what the reality is. All of these spaghetti colored lines are the past 10 years of flu, each flu season and how it's peaked. These red triangles are this year in the flu season. It's not even reaching the dotted baseline of where it should be. This basically means no flu, no how, no way this year. As a matter of fact, in the ER, I have not even seen a case of flu in the ER. I mean, I know we have some sporadic cases here and there, but I personally have not even seen a case of flu. And obviously, well, not so obviously, but I think it would make sense to think that all of the measures that people have instituted, the public health measures of masking and distancing and no school, especially no school, have really limited the spread of influenza this year to the point where it's been a non-factor. We are worried about the variants, and this is what the variants look like nationwide. The UK variant is the predominant one, but the other 2 are making appearances in Massachusetts. We're seeing B117, that's the UK variant throughout the state, and it's making its appearance. The South Africa variant just kind of showing up, and these are variants of concern. Why? Because many reasons. One is they're spreading more rapidly and may have higher lethality than the standard COVID virus. It's possible that the vaccines may not demonstrate as much effectiveness against some of them, although it does seem to be effective against the UK variant. And there's a question of whether some variants might escape testing and be resistant to the antibody treatment that's out there. So vaccinations are under full swing, lots and lots of activity in Brockton this week that's going to translate into more vaccinations next week, where Brockton Neighborhood Health Center has been designated as a White House site to receive thousands of doses of vaccines to give in Brockton. Brockton was identified as one of 20 communities at high risk in Massachusetts. So the flow of vaccine to our Board of Health should continue, whereas lots of other smaller towns around Massachusetts have been struggling to get doses for themselves because the strategy in the state is to have the large mass vaccination centers like Gillette and Fenway be the place where folks go. But now we are open to anyone in priority 1 group, which is the healthcare workers and nursing home residents, ages 75 and up, and now ages 65 and up, as well as anyone with 2 of the listed medical conditions. The rollout of the vaccine is going to be given with the help of some Air Force, an Air Force, I'm not sure what his rank is, but he's got a task force of 10 military who are going to be joining Brockton Neighborhood Health Center this week, calling it Task Force Raptor. And we're going to be meeting with them later in the week to figure out how they're going to be able to help us with administration of the vaccine and observation. And that's all I have, except for one thing I did want to bring up and just say that we do have our own task force Raptor, and I saw this video from the Raymond School today, and I just have to say that if the teachers in all of the other schools have the energy and the enthusiasm and the creativity and the passion and the overall joy that I saw in that video of wanting to get back to school and the love and passion they have for those kids, I will be amazed if you guys don't do a phenomenal job. That was overwhelmingly phenomenal, right down to Bernie Sanders in his mittens. I thought it was terrific, and got me so enthusiastic about bringing kids back to school, knowing that faculty and staff have that kind of passion and joy for teaching and getting the kids back. So that's what I got, and happy to answer any questions.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Herman, yet again for putting this together for us and for joining us and giving us your time. I know you're a very busy guy, so I appreciate, again, tonight, but all you've done to help give us the guidance we've needed through this pandemic. Any member of the committee have any questions for the doctor? No?
Going easy on me this week, huh?
Mayor Sullivan.
I don't have any questions. I just want to thank Dr. Herman. When I asked Rick if he wanted to come on for consulting for a pandemic, first of all, we didn't think it would be this extensive. And I know Dr. Herman didn't know it was going to be so time consuming, but he never complains. He really is a deep dive type of individual. And the data he always gives us, be it my office, the school committee, the city council, pastors, business people, it's so valuable. So Dr. Rick, on behalf of everybody, I want to just thank you for your time and your efforts.
My pleasure. Thank you, Mayor.
Oh, all right, Mr.
Sullivan before me.
All right, Mr. Sullivan.
Yes, Dr. Herman, I just wanted to, the reason why we have no questions is because your reports are so thorough. There's nothing to ask. You said everything. But I just wanted to thank you for all the times you've been here and with all the updates. And I feel like I learned a lot just from you. Thank you.
My pleasure. Happy to do it.
Superintendent.
Especially after seeing that video where I know that folks are like taking this seriously, and I was impressed.
No, that's pretty much throughout the district. The video was tremendous, but that's the enthusiasm that staff has for students returning, and the amount of time they've put in to prepare for this has just been amazing, and their enthusiasm is off the charts. So thanks for recognizing that, Doctor. We also want to thank you for Dr. Herman spends time with me, Dr. Moran, Kim Gibson, and Colin Confroy from the BEA attorney, and just as we're working through an MOU and focusing on metrics to make sure that we're keeping students and staff safe. He's been, with his time, very generous, and I can't say enough of what he's provided us to help us make good decisions is, again, much appreciated. And again, he's been, anytime I email him, he gets back to me right away. And he also has met with us several times in meetings outside of this, and it's been very helpful. So it's much appreciated.
Thank you.
Yeah, again, we appreciate the deep dive. The mayor brought that up, that you really do prepare a very deep level of information for us, which is, again, exactly what we've needed to make the right decisions. And the decisions we've had to make would have been a lot more difficult without that level of data that you've provided us. So again, Really appreciate it.
Well, let me criticize myself then, because you guys aren't doing that. Because some of the data that I want to be able to provide to you, what I think is important for not just Brockton, but every town and city in Massachusetts to know is how are we doing in terms of, how much of our community is immunized and protected against the spread. How close are we to achieving this herd immunity and getting there? And, in general, herd immunity would equal those people that have already been infected plus those people who have been vaccinated. And you would think it would be a very simple question: how many people in Brockton have been vaccinated? But we're struggling to get that data. And I know it's a new system and rolling out, and but between the folks that got it through Stewart and Signature and Fenway and Gillette and the Neighborhood Health Center and the Board of Health and anywhere else that they've gotten it, outside of our city, it's tough to get that data all together. So we're working on that. And I think that would be important for you all to know, if we've gotten 80% of our people protected, why isn't that great? If it's only 5%, that's not so good. Nationwide, we know that about 13% of the population has received at least one dose. I'd like to be able to compare Brockton with how the rest of the country is doing, how the rest of the state is doing. So hopefully we'll have that sooner rather than later.
All right. Okay, so I was going to suggest for a couple of reasons, if there's nothing else for the doctor, let me just confirm. We're good? All right. The next item on the agenda is executive session, and then we would have other business after executive session. And the technology piece gets a little wonky when we go in and out of executive session. We literally hit the pause button and have the public watching a blank screen waiting until we get back. So if the committee was okay with it, maybe somebody might want to make a motion to take other business out of order so we can deal with that first and then go into executive session and not return.
Motion to take other business out of order.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion properly made by Mr. Sullivan to take other business out of order, properly seconded by Mrs. Mendez. I'll call the roll. Mayor Sullivan. The vice chair is a yes. Mr. Minicello.
Yes.
Mrs. Mendez.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes.
Mrs. Sullivan.
Yes.
Ms. Asak.
Yes.
And Mr. Sullivan.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So the next item, other business. Does anybody have any other business to come before policy? And Dr. Herman, did I see you put your hand up when I was starting that?
I was just going to thank you all for inviting me and excuse myself from the rest of the meeting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Mayor.
I just want to take a moment to inform the members of the committee that myself and the vice chair and superintendent, along with Principal Cliff Murray, toured Brockton High today to thank the SPED students and welcome the students back along with the staff. It was really a wonderful thing to visualize and to be part of. So I want to thank again Dr. Murray for doing that, and the school looked beautiful. I mean, it was clean. It was awesome. So I just wanted to let everybody know that, and thank everybody that works for Brockton Public Schools, because today was a great day.
Yes, it was, Mayor, and I think the thing that both of you would agree to, there was lots of smiles on the kids' faces. There were smiles on the teachers' faces. I mean, it was just a day full of smiles. Everybody happy to be back and be together. So it was a great day.
Yeah, I want to add, Mr. D'Agostino, is that, just a quick report on opening today that, across the district, it went very well for the 350 students that returned today, and another cohort of close to 350 students that return tomorrow. And it just shows the amount of time that our teachers, support staff, and our administrators have put in to preparing for this day. And again, it's been nothing short of amazing. And I want to thank also Peggy Kalea and Marcia Andrade Serpa from the Parent Information Center, because they've been out straight with transportation, making sure all the vans were where they needed to be. And I also want to thank First Student for what they did. I mean, they have scrambled to bring their drivers back to Brockton, and they have done that. And today, again, was smooth with the vans. Buses will roll next week, but I want to commend the work that they've done with Peggy Kalea and how much time she's put into tweaking everything there is to do with transportation. So, and again, then for, like the mayor said, for the facilities department for what they've done with the buildings over the past several months and getting them ready and safe. It was great to walk around today to see, all the hand sanitizing stations that have been installed. The air purifiers all over the place, industrial size air purifiers in the cafeterias that look like a Volkswagen. But you can tell that they're working. It's just buildings are clean, and the teachers, again, within the support staff were great. We went into a couple of classrooms that some of the students were still at home because their parents have chose to keep them at home, and they were zoomed into the classroom, along with and some of the teachers were zoomed in as well. So it was great to see the technology in use and the students engaged. And again, it all goes towards the hard work that the teachers, the support staff, and the administrators have done to prepare for this day. So it was a great day. It was something that we've been waiting a long time for, and we look forward to the next several days as we welcome more students back.
Great. And I think you made a good point too, just talking about how we're just finding a way to make everything work, right? We had students in the room. We had two paras there was one of the classrooms we went into, two paras with them. The teacher was remote with one remote student, and they had that projected up on the wall, and class was going on. I mean, you just, they were making things work, and it was going well. And so again, it was a great day. Anybody else under other business? Nothing. All right. Oh, Mr. Minicello.
Hi, Mr. Chair. Just wondering if the superintendent could just say a word or two about any update regarding music and theater. If we might be getting a report or someone's going to speak at the next school committee meeting, because I have spoken to some parents who know that the sports programs are obviously moving forward with restrictions, but they want to make sure that their students are really participating in the activities other than sports, that we're trying to do everything we can so that their experience is as normal as can be in light of what we're dealing with.
Yeah, I have our music director coming. Michael Smith is coming next Tuesday night at the school committee meeting. He's coming. Sarah Richards, Kevin Cardell, who's the band director now, Matt Cunningham, who's the choral director, and Bob Hogan, our drama director, will all be with us Tuesday night at the regular school committee meeting to present what has been done throughout the year and what's going to happen when students return. They'll go over the guidelines we have to follow. They'll go over the virtual contests that they have competed in with pretty much all the schools across the state. I think I sent you an email of the awards that from the gentleman who runs the theater, sent me an email just congratulating Brockton and their drama club for winning so many awards in the virtual competition. So they're going to come and present all that information and also present the arts activities that will be going on as students return to school. And Michael will also talk about what has been purchased in PPE that we have to have in place now that the state is going to start loosening up some of the guidance because again, they have not allowed any singing inside. They have not allowed any instruments inside. They're starting to just now loosen that up, but we have to buy PPE to be able to do that. So we have all that in place. That's all been ordered, and they'll give you a full presentation next Tuesday.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Appreciate it.
Mrs. Sullivan.
Hi, I just wanted to say that I'm hearing a lot of really good feedback on the school's opening. I believe the parents, and I know the kids are excited. I believe Brockton Public Schools has thought of everything on this opening. And Mike and the superintendent and his team should be commended. I heard a presentation to parents last night from the Baker School, and it was excellent. The Brockton Public Schools has thought of everything. And the parents and the kids are really lucky to have this kind of team in Brockton. So I just wanted to thank everybody from the superintendent all the way down to every worker that works for them, because I've seen the work that they do and it's just great, phenomenal. Thank you, everybody, and good luck on opening.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, again, it just goes to the relationships from the school committee, the mayor's office, to the relationships we have with all our unions, to be able to work cooperatively to get to this point. And it's a lot of hard work by a lot of people. And, you know, I'm able to enjoy the luxury of having several, you know, just wonderful people to work with that put in a ton of time and effort, and you know, and all the credit goes to them and what they've put into this. And there'll be bumps and bruises. There's no question. When you, just like we did when we started remote, full remote, there'll be bumps and bruises along the way with hybrid, because it's new. We've never done it, even though we've prepared for it for months and months and months. But there will be some bumps and bruises, and we will iron them all out. And you know, as time goes by, I'm sure in a few weeks everything will be smooth, and I'm pretty sure it's going to start pretty smooth. But there'll be some bumps and bruises. But again, the time that the teachers, the staff, everybody has put into this is just unbelievable, and the results will show. So again, it's just a bunch. It's as Brockton has always been. It's people working together to do what's best for kids.
Right. And that's the thing, is that if we all work together like we've been doing, then our kids can only benefit, because we know that we do it all. All of us do it all for the kids. Thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Anybody else? Well, I'll add one final thing then to this matter. And I was really happy, and I pointed it out to the superintendent when we were at the high school today, that his thing he said when we first opened school, you know, God, it feels like so long ago now in 2019, you know, he said, work hard and be nice to people. And the signs that say work hard and be nice to people are still all over the high school. And I pointed it out to him, and your response to me was what I really appreciated, though. And he just looked at me. I said, that's great that's, you know, everywhere. And he said, it's just common sense. So anyway, all right. If there's nothing else under other business, then the next item on our agenda would be executive session. So the committee will enter executive session pursuant to GL Chapter 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting law may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body. And as so, the chair declares, and I am declaring, that it would have a detrimental effect on our bargaining position. So we will go into executive session regarding the Brockton Education Association, Brockton Education Paraprofessionals Association, and the Brockton IBA TEA and Brockton Education MTA Association. The committee will not return to open session at the conclusion of executive session. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
Motion to go into executive session.
Second.
We have a motion to go into executive session by Ms. Asak, seconded by Mrs. Sullivan. I'll call the roll. Mayor Sullivan.
Yes.
Mr. Minicello.
Yes.
Mrs. Mendez.
Yes.
I think I left myself out. D'Agostino is a yes. Mr. Mendez. I mean, Mr. Jesus. Mr. Rodriguez. I'm sorry. It's been a long day.
It's all right. Yes.
Mrs. Sullivan.
Yes.
Miss Asak.
Yes.
Mr. Sullivan.
Yes.
Okay, we are in executive session.